Our steps are slow, our breathing ragged, our burdens heavy. This walk to the cross, it is not easy, and yet Christ walked it for us. For the joy that was set before him, he despised the shame, he bore our blame, and shared our pain. Now let us build on the rock that is Christ. Let us walk the way of the cross together, moving forward without fear into God's eternal purposes. For Christ himself is with us every step of the way. Let us trust in God alone and find the joy that Christ did, obedience to our loving God.
Good morning, Faith family, and welcome to this, our first Sunday in Lent. From now on, and for the rest of Lent, every single one of our welcomes in the morning will be preceded by a Lenten reading. This is a season of reflection. Is it a season of a desire to spiritually grow? In our own vernacular, we may talk about improving, but that doesn't quite get at the point. And in this, our first Sunday of Lent, we're going to be looking at taking the Lord's name in vain and what that actually means. In the gospel reading, we're going to see how important our care for each other is to the heart of the gospel, to what it is that Jesus is trying to get us to do. How are we taking care of each other when we're sick? How are we taking care of each other when we're hungry, thirsty, in need of clothing and supplies? How are we loving each other in our weakest moments? Because as you will see, that is when Jesus says, I am with you. Whatever you do to the least of these, my brothers and my sisters, that you do to me. It is a clarion call for what the Christian life should look like. And I will say honestly, in these faith families, frequently does. I love your care for the community, for each other, and for those beyond our little churches. And that is something we must make absolutely central to the identities of both Mountsburg and Westover. Today I want to lift up a few members of our faith families. I want to lift up Mel and Indra. They have gone through so much during this COVID time. I mean, for years, any of you know the story. But in the past few weeks, they've had to move from the place they've lived in for over a decade. They've had to adjust to a whole new situation for living. They've had to isolate for 2 weeks because of their new location. They are missing everybody. They are, it's just so much adjustment for such a short period of time. And if anything, in this Lenten time, we should be reaching out to each other, and especially during this quarantine time, to make sure that each other is doing okay. So I want to lift up Mel and Indra in our prayer. I want to lift up little Maverick for everything that he's going through, and it is breaking George and Audrey's heart to watch this and to be ultimately powerless. So I want to lift little Maverick up, and let's continue to pray. And then for my student Sally, her husband is going in to literally have a mechanical heart put into his chest this week. So let's lift, I know you don't know her, but let's lift her up in prayer. Sorry, my nose got itchy there. To celebrate, which is definitely part of Lent as well, George and Audrey Galloway and Mike and Virginia Brazeau enjoyed their wedding anniversaries this past week. So congratulations to the four of you, which makes it sound like you're all married together, but to the two couples, that's a better way of doing it. Congratulations on this monumental achievement, and I hope you were able to, although it's not like we can really do a ton, but I hope you're able to celebrate this milestone in ways that were pleasing to you. And if either of you guys forgot your anniversary, I am so sorry that I ousted you here at the church website. It's not a great way to go about doing things. So welcome again to our Lenten service. Both churches tend to do Lenten projects, so I'm putting out another appeal to you as we're doing the prayers, to also put forward any group, any person, anything you've heard about, again, in this generosity, to be our Lenten project for 2021. Just because we can't meet together doesn't mean we can't extend our reach to help those who are in need. All right, my dear faith families, welcome again to this, our first Sunday in Lent, as we look at taking the Lord's name in vain. But let's take some moments now to pray, to reflect, to have some music, and to just enjoy the beginning of this Lenten season, this high, holy season that gets us ready for Easter. All right, let's begin.